It's been a year now. We still live here. My wife says I should let it go, that it's all in my head. But sometimes late at night, I'll see their porch light flicker on across the street. And I swear, just for a second, I can see them standing at the window, watching. My wife and I bought our house 3 years ago. It is in a nice suburban neighborhood in Colorado. Tree-lined streets, well-maintained houses, friendly people. The kind of place where families move to raise their kids. Everything was normal for the first couple of years. We met our neighbors, we decorated the house, we settled into our new life together. Then last October rolled around and everything changed. I am not really into Halloween. I'm an adult with no kids, so I do not get trick-or-treaters. I usually just work late, come home, and avoid the whole holiday. But my wife is different. She absolutely loves Halloween. She wanted to decorate the house, throw a party, do the whole thing. "Come on, it'll be fun," she kept saying. "We finally own a house. We should celebrate Halloween in it." I eventually relented. I gave in. We bought some decorations, a few inflatable pumpkins, some lights, some fake spider webs, nothing crazy, just enough to participate. We did not throw a big party, but we invited a few neighbors over for drinks and snacks on Halloween night. It was a small, casual thing, maybe 12 people total. During the party, I was talking to my neighbor, who lived 2 doors down. She was nice, always friendly when we saw her in the driveway. "Your decorations are cute," she said. "Thanks," I said. My wife wanted to do it up this year. "Well, be careful," she said, lowering her voice. "This neighborhood has a weird history." "Weird how?" I asked. "Nothing major," she said. "Just there have been some strange things over the years. People disappearing. Not from our street specifically, but from the neighborhood. A few unsolved crimes. Nothing that makes the news anymore, but longtime residents remember." I laughed nervously. "That is a bit dark for Halloween party conversation." "I'm sorry," she said. "I shouldn't have brought it up. I'm just saying, be aware of your surroundings. Keep your doors locked. Don't leave valuables visible. That kind of thing." I didn't think much of it at the time, but after the party ended and everyone left, I mentioned it to my wife. "Weird history," she said. "Like what?" "I don't know. She just made it sound like there was some weird stuff that happened years ago." "Every neighborhood has weird stories," my wife said. "People love drama." I let it go. But then, a few days later, I started noticing something. My neighbors across the street were acting very strangely. There was a family of 4 living in the house directly across from us. I had seen them a few times, but we had never really talked. The father, the mother, and 2 teenagers. They seemed normal, from what I could tell. But after that Halloween party, I started noticing their behavior. They would stand in their front window and watch the street for hours, not doing anything, just watching. And whenever I came outside to check the mail, to water the plants, whatever, I could feel them looking at me. I could feel their eyes on me. I mentioned it to my wife. She noticed it too. "They're always watching," she said one morning. "I saw the dad staring at our house this morning. He looked away when he saw me looking at him." "That is creepy," I said, but I tried to brush it off. Surely I was being paranoid. Surely I was just being crazy. Then I started noticing other things. Someone was taking our trash cans out to the curb before collection day. Our garbage cans would be moved from the side of the house to the curb, sometimes days before trash day. I would move them back, and then a few days later they would be out again. At first, I thought maybe my wife was doing it and forgetting, but she swore that she was not. Then I realized that small items were disappearing from our front porch. We would leave packages there to be picked up, and they would be gone in the morning. Not stolen by a delivery service, just gone, completely vanished. I called the police about the porch theft. An officer came out, took a report, and suggested that we install security cameras. They didn't think it was a major crime issue, they said. It happens constantly. But I didn't think it was just package theft. I thought that someone was testing us, seeing what they could take, seeing if we would notice. I installed security cameras, and that's when I really started to understand the problem. The footage showed my neighbors, specifically the father across the street. Almost every single night he was approaching our house. Sometimes he would just stand in our driveway looking at the house. Sometimes he would pick things up off our porch, not stealing them, just examining them, like he was studying them. Sometimes he would try our door handles, testing to see if they were locked. I showed the footage to my wife. She was absolutely horrified. "We need to call the police," she said immediately. But I was hesitant. The footage showed him on our property, but it didn't show him actually doing anything illegal. He was just prowling. He was just watching. "He's obviously planning something," my wife said. "We need to report him." So we did. Police came out again. We showed them the footage. The officers seemed concerned, but they said that they couldn't make an arrest based on that alone. However, they said that they would talk to him. They said that they would increase patrols in the neighborhood. The next day, my neighbor came over. He was very polite, very courteous. He apologized for trespassing. He said that he was sorry if he scared us. He explained that he suffered from insomnia and sometimes took walks at night. He said that he didn't realize that our cameras were capturing him on our property. He said that it would not happen again. I invited him in for a beer. My wife could not believe it. She was absolutely screaming internally, but I seemed satisfied with the explanation. We talked for a while and he left on good terms. "That was weird," my wife said after he left. "What was weird about it?" I asked. "He explained everything. He probably was just dealing with insomnia." But my wife's gut told her that something was wrong, something deeply, fundamentally wrong with that family across the street. Over the next month, the prowling stopped. The neighbor was not coming near our house anymore. The feeling of being watched went away. I thought that the problem had been solved. I thought that it was over. Then I found out that my neighbor, the one who had warned me about the neighborhood's weird history, had gone missing. She disappeared between leaving work and getting home. Her car was found empty on the side of the highway. She was never found. She just vanished. The police investigated. They suspected foul play, but without a body or any clear suspects, the case went nowhere. She was officially listed as a missing person. I was shocked. I was absolutely stunned. I immediately told my wife about her disappearance and asked if she thought that there was a connection. "Connection to what?" she asked. "To the weird neighborhood history? To the neighbors that were watching us? To all of it?" "That's a huge leap," my wife said. "She probably just had an accident or was a victim of random violence. It has nothing to do with the neighbors." But I was not convinced. Something told me that there was a connection. I looked into the neighborhood history more carefully. I found newspaper articles about 3 people who had gone missing from the vicinity over the past 15 years. All of them had lived within a few blocks of my current house. All of them had disappeared without a trace. I looked at the addresses of their houses. They formed a rough circle. And at the center of that circle was the house across the street, the house where my neighbors were currently living. I brought this to the police. I showed them my theory. The detective I spoke to took it seriously, but he said that correlation does not equal causation. He said that it was possible, but there was no evidence linking my neighbors to any of the disappearances. He said that they would look into it more thoroughly. Months passed, then a year. My neighbors across the street continued to live there. My wife and I have carried on with our lives. We have made peace with it mostly. But then there are times when I catch myself staring at the windows across the street, wondering who's really watching whom. The uncertainty weighs on me. There's no proof, no way to be sure, but something in my gut tells me I'm right to keep watching. I just don't know what will happen next. I don't know if the police will ever figure it out. I don't know if those people across the street are capable of far worse than prowling at night. But I can't shake the feeling that sooner or later something will happen. And when it does, I hope I'm ready for it. And that uncertainty, that inability to prove anything, that inability to escape, might be the most frightening thing of all.
This happened 4 years ago, and I still do not go near that road. I refuse to go anywhere near it. My wife and I had just started dating. We were both 29 years old, living in different cities, trying to make the long-distance thing work out between us. My wife suggested that we meet halfway for a Halloween weekend. We would rent a house, invite some friends, have a proper Halloween party. We would make it memorable. I thought that it was a great idea. I was really excited about it. We found this listing online, a Victorian mansion in rural upstate New York. 4 bedrooms on 40 acres of woodland. Looked absolutely beautiful in the pictures. The price was reasonable for a weekend rental. We booked it immediately, without hesitation. My wife invited 2 of her friends. I invited 3 of mine. We had plans for a full weekend. 2 nights, lots of drinking, food, costumes, the whole 9 yards. The house was incredible in person. It was old, creepy in that way that Victorian mansions are, but it was also beautiful. It had wraparound porches, ornate details, tons of character. The kind of place that looked like it belonged in a horror movie. The basement was particularly unsettling. Stone walls, low ceiling with exposed pipes, divided into several different sections. But we did not let that stop us. If anything, it added to the atmosphere and the vibe. We got there Friday afternoon. By 8 p.m., we had music going, people dancing, drinking, having a really great time. The Halloween vibe was absolutely perfect. Around midnight, I went outside for some fresh air. The property was pitch black. No streetlights, no neighbors, just woods and complete darkness. I was standing on the back porch smoking a cigarette when I saw lights in the distance, maybe half a mile away through the trees. Multiple lights moving slowly toward the house. At first, I thought they were fireflies, but then I realized the movement was too deliberate, both steady beams of white light weaving through the trees like flashlights. I squinted, trying to see better. The lights were getting closer, getting brighter, getting more organized, almost like a group walking in formation. Then we heard them, voices, distant, echoing through the woods, multiple people calling out to each other. The words were muffled, but I caught bits and pieces. Check there, over here, she can't be far. The lights finally stopped about a quarter mile away. They just stayed there, hovering, moving slightly side to side like people scanning the ground. My wife felt a chill run down her spine. She looked at me and I knew that she was scared. I felt it too. I felt the same fear. Others came out to watch these mystery lights in the distance. We all stood on the porch for about 20 minutes, just watching them in silence. Then one by one, the lights went out. Within the span of about 3 minutes, every single light disappeared. The woods went completely black. Maybe it's a search party, one of my friends said, trying to sound calm. Then why didn't they have dogs or vehicles? My wife whispered. No one answered. We decided to stop worrying about it and get back to the party. But the mood had definitely shifted. People were jumpy, on edge. The carefree Halloween atmosphere was completely gone. Around 2 a.m., most people had gone to bed or passed out. I was in the kitchen cleaning up when I heard something, a sound, coming from the basement. It was faint at first, a low, dull thump. Then another, thump, thump, thump. It was too heavy and too slow to be pipes or the old furnace. It sounded like something being dragged across the floor, something with weight. I froze, trying to tell myself it was the house settling, or maybe an old water heater kicking on. But then the rhythm changed. Thump, pause, thump, thump, pause, like someone or something moving with intent. I went to the basement door and listened. The sound continued, echoing faintly up the wooden stairs. I called out, "Hello? Is someone down there?" The thumping stopped immediately. Every hair on my body stood up. I did not go down to check. Something in my gut told me not to. Something told me that I should absolutely not go down there. Instead, I got my wife and one of my friends. We decided to check the basement together. The basement was absolutely massive, at least 2,500 square feet. Stone walls, low ceiling with exposed pipes, divided into several different sections. We brought flashlights to see. We swept our flashlights across the basement looking for anything that was out of place. Everything seemed normal. Boxes of old items, some old furniture, the standard basement stuff you would normally find. Then we saw it. In the far corner, there were scratches on the concrete floor, like something heavy had been dragged repeatedly across the surface, like something big had been pulled across that floor many times. Fresh scratches, like they had been made very recently. "That is not good," my friend said quietly. "Let's just go back upstairs," I said. We did not mention it to anyone else. We didn't want to freak everyone out or cause a panic, but I barely slept that night. I kept thinking about those lights in the woods, and that rhythmic thumping in the basement, and those fresh scratches on the floor. I kept thinking about that car watching the house, and I wonder what they were looking for that night. But I wonder if they found it.
This happened 4 years ago, and I have not been back to that town since. My girlfriend and I decided to spend Halloween weekend at her parents' house. They lived in this old Victorian home that had been in her family for 3 generations. I'd only been there once before, years earlier, and I remembered how massive and quiet it was. High ceilings, creaking floors, and that distinct smell of old wood and dust. Her parents were going to be out of town for the weekend, so it was just going to be the 2 of us. We thought it would be fun to have the place to ourselves, decorate a little, maybe even throw a small Halloween gathering with a few friends. I didn't know then that it would be the last time I'd ever step inside that house. When we arrived that Friday evening, the sky was already darkening. The house stood at the edge of a small town, surrounded by thick, leafless trees. The branches swayed and scraped against the windows as the wind picked up. The place looked almost alive in the fading light, like it was watching us. "It's weird being back here," my girlfriend said as she unlocked the front door. "I haven't spent Halloween here since I was a kid." "Why not?" I asked. She hesitated. "My parents never liked Halloween much. I mean, we'd hand out candy when I was little, but after a while they just stopped celebrating. So they didn't like the energy it brought into the house." I remember laughing softly at that. "Energy?" "Yeah," she said, smiling faintly. "I guess they just meant they didn't like noise or decorations. The basement used to be full of old Halloween stuff, though. My dad locked it years ago, said it was too cluttered to go through." "The basement was full of Halloween props?" I asked, surprised. "Yeah," she said. "We used to go down there every year and throw some of the decorations around. But then we just stopped celebrating and everything stayed down there. Dad never wanted to deal with it after that." The locked basement part stuck in my mind, but I didn't think much of it then. We spent most of the evening talking, ordering pizza, setting up some fake candles, and watching horror movies. Around 9 p.m., I got the idea that maybe we should actually decorate the house. Make it fun, nostalgic, a little creepy. "You said there used to be decorations down there, right?" I asked. "Why don't we check the basement? Maybe there's something cool we can use." She frowned. "I don't know if it's even open. My dad always kept it locked." "Well," I said, grinning, "it's Halloween. If there was ever a night to go exploring, it's tonight." After a bit of convincing, she agreed. She found an old ring of keys her dad had left, and after trying a few, we finally heard a soft click. The basement door creaked open. A cold draught brushed past us, and with it came a faint smell of metal and mildew. "I guess it's not locked anymore," I joked, but my voice came out weaker than I'd intended. We grabbed flashlights and started down the steps. The wooden stairs groaned under our weight. I could see my breath in the light, like the air itself was heavier down there. When we reached the bottom, I realized why her dad had kept the door locked. The basement wasn't filled with boxes and old junk like I expected. It was filled with mirrors. Dozens of them. They lined the walls from floor to ceiling, tall antique ones in ornate gold frames, smaller cracked hand mirrors hanging at odd angles, and some so old that their silver had faded to black. In the flashlight's glow, the reflections looked wrong, warped, too dark, too deep. "What the hell?" I whispered. My girlfriend stared around confused. "I don't remember any of this. They used to be shelves, boxes, not mirrors." She stepped closer to one of the larger mirrors, wiping a layer of dust off her sleeve. Her reflection flickered for a moment, like the image lagged behind her movement, but she didn't seem to notice. Then I saw something. In the mirror beside her, just over her shoulder, there was a figure. A man standing completely still. I spun around. Nothing, just empty space and shadows. But when I looked back, he was still there, in the mirror, hanging, his head tilted unnaturally to one side. "Do you see that?" I whispered. She glanced at me. "See what?" "The mirror," I said, pointing, but when I looked again, the man was gone. The reflection was empty, just us and our flashlights. "He just dusted or something," she said, but I could hear the unease in her voice. We grabbed a few decorations, plastic pumpkins, a broken skeleton prop, and hurried upstairs. I didn't mention what I saw again that night, but I couldn't sleep. Around 3 a.m., I woke up to the sound of footsteps,
slow, heavy, coming from the hallway outside the bedroom. I shook her awake. "Did you hear that?" She sat up, groggy. "It's just the house. It always makes noises." The footsteps stopped. And then faintly I heard a whisper, like someone speaking through a wall. I couldn't make out the words. I got up and cracked the door open. The hallway was dark except for the faint light spilling from the bathroom at the end. Then I saw it. A shadow moved across the wall, but it wasn't cast by anything. It slid across the surface, like a person gliding but not touching the floor. I slammed the door shut. "There's someone in this house." My girlfriend was wide awake now. "That's not possible. We're the only ones here." But I didn't believe her. And after that night, I don't think she did either. The next morning, her mom called. "Hey, honey," her mom said, "did you two go down to the basement?" My girlfriend froze. "Yeah? Why?" Her mom was silent for a long time. Then quietly she said, "I thought your father locked that door for good reason." "What reason?" "There was an incident a long time ago before you were born." Her voice shook. "The family who lived here before us, they all died. The police said they had taken their lives, but nobody in town loves to talk about it. They found the bodies in the basement." My girlfriend went pale. I could hear her breathing quick, and her mom continued. "They said the father hung himself. The mother was found mutilated in front of one of those mirrors. The children were found standing around him, holding hands. The mirrors were part of it somehow. People said they reflected what really happened." I felt the blood drain from my face. "Why didn't you ever tell her?" I asked. Her mom sighed. "Because she was a child. We thought those were stories and didn't care much, and some things are better left forgotten." We were shivering as hell. Then her mother said, "Anyways, don't go to the basement. It's not that good to believe." We immediately packed our stuff and left within an hour. I didn't even look back at the house. But it didn't end there. Weeks later, my girlfriend started acting strange. She'd catch her reflection doing things she didn't do, smiling when she wasn't, moving a split second too late. One night I found her in the bathroom, standing in front of the mirror, her hand pressed flat against the glass. "He's here," she whispered. "He wants to come through." After that, I took her to a hospital. She's still there now, slowly recovering. The doctors call it trauma-induced psychosis, but I know it's more than that. I stopped going to that town. I can't even drive past it without feeling sick. But sometimes when I brush my teeth or catch my reflection in a window, I see something flicker behind me, a shadow, a shape. And every time I wonder, what if the mirror is remembering me too? I know it doesn't seem real, but it happened for real.
Don't forget to subscribe for more scary stories. Thank you for watching.